I'm going to start with saying, Phoebe, how did you prepare for the role?
Uh, how did I prepare for the role? Well, I kind of firstly was like, I know nothing about hedge funds. So I should probably figure out what the deal is there. Um, and so I think the first thing I really did was buy a book called Hedge Funding or Hedge Funds for Dummies and just learn a bit about like what they do because I had no idea. And also, why this was such kind of an addictive um workplace for her, throughout everything that goes on in the film. She's still at the end of the movie is adamant that she wants to kind of stay in this business. So I wanted to know what about it she fell in love with, and what made her hungry. And also, I mean, in preparation with Alden and Chloe, when we got to Serbia, which is where we shot the movie, we had kind of a week of rehearsals in prep for shooting, which was really helpful. We had a great intimacy coordinator, and we were just able to spend a lot of time rehearsing the scenes and working with our intimacy coordinator and figuring out in detail Luke and Emily's relationship. We kind of role played them meeting and got to kind of rehearse scenes that weren't in the movie or play with kind of their relationship, what you don't see in the movie, which was also really helpful.
To be honest, I think it worked because I was going to speak about the chemistry between you two. It's fabulous. It's fantastic. Alden, what about you? How did you prepare for that role?
Yeah, along the same lines, understanding the world and doing the kind of stuff that I usually do of understanding as best I can the character, etc. And then yeah, it was that time where we got to spend this time together was very instrumental because we got to really build a real relationship that was trusting and live through these kind of intimate moments before we shot, so that when we shot, we knew on some basic level that the other person knew you weren't really trying to hurt them. There wasn't any, that we were safe. And when you have that sort of those guardrails and that sense of safety, you can take much bigger risks and live a lot more dangerously in a way. So, yeah.
A question for you both as well. What I realized, obviously, I love watching you together, and I wish it was happy ending because it was so beautiful. But I swear, look, you two were perfect. It's like the perfect example of a modern couple, and it was sad to see it this way, but I'm glad. The question is, you both kind of gone through a lot of emotional changes. So you started happy, Alden, you started happy, you started positive, then at the end of the movie you cry, and you started a little bit vulnerable, Phoebe, and then you ended the movie was very powerful, very strong. You took things in your own hand. So talk to me about this. We start with Alden.
Start with me. Yeah, I mean, that's what was so exciting about the script and the way it was built, was there was this enormous arc for both of our characters, and the Chloe did a wonderful job of each scene progressing that and making the dynamic and how things had now changed extremely clear. So something would happen and then their dynamic with each other would get a little bit more, or this was the scene where someone said something overtly mean-spirited or cruel for the first time, or this was the first scene where someone yelled at somebody. So it was beautifully charted in that way, and that was one of the things that made it appealing.
That's amazing. Phoebe, the emotion changes of your character?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, seconding on what Alden said, the way the script was written, I could just really understand kind of every change in Emily's kind of behavior and how she ends up getting to the place that she gets to by the end of the movie. But yeah, that aspect that you mentioned about Emily was kind of one of the most interesting things about her to me. Is the first kind of act of the movie, she's very much suppressing her ambitiousness in front of Luke to kind of appease him or seem kind of vulnerable and therefore sexy and endearing and all the things that I think we're taught as women to believe is attractive. And then I think it gets to a point where she, seeing his behavior, just no longer wants to suppress her own ambitiousness and kind of just becomes her true natured self, which is a very smart, ambitious woman who wants to get to the top, which is the person that Luke is from the very beginning. And then you just realize that so is Emily. Yeah.
Well, like, I think you both did a great job, and well done, and Phoebe, on the accent as well. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Love from Egypt. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very nice to meet you.